At Kroger, we want our
RT has successfully fought and won in your case for more than 40 years. So call us today.
more money for hospitals, roads and bridges, and incentives for adoptions in this post-Roe world. Those were all among the bragging points for the Speaker and Lieutenant Governor as they look back at the session. Included plenty of spirited debates, but Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hoseman's biggest regret?
First of all, down on this year, and I didn't get it. We reduced significantly the number of individuals that have to sign. In the last four things that we asked with the House, that was one of the four. And in the overall past 24, 48 hours, it didn't make it.
Speaker Philip Dunn's response to that?
It was 8% of all registered voters, 157,000 people. We were 106. So yeah, but I just didn't even think that was, with all the other stuff we had going on, that was not something, that was not a serious offer, not something seriously being entertained.
And the Speaker's regret?
The only thing that comes to mind would be the continued elimination of the income tax. We made a huge step in that direction last year, but it did not, the plan that we passed was not a plan for elimination. I think that still needs to be done.
Despite disagreements on how to get there, education funding was a final point of pride for both leaders as they look back at the session.
In addition to the normal funding for education in Mississippi, those are the seats of the future. That's where we need to be spending our money. I was very proud of the fact we did that. They can use it on assistant teachers' pay raises if they want to. They can use it on teacher pay raises. They can do the textbooks, classroom improvements, computers, pretty much anything except administrative salaries.
But NAEP, the school funding formula, will continue to be a point of debate moving forward based on comments from the leaders. Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
And remember, the leadership will soon change. Speaker Philip Dunn is not intending to run for re-election. So there will be new House leadership, and that could be slightly the priority. Now, by the middle of the month, you will no longer be able to legally get connected in Lowndes County after a brief public hearing this morning. The Lowndes County Board of Supervisors voted to pass a countywide ordinance banning the sale, purchase, and possession of the drug, more commonly known as Zaza. These drugs are sold as a supplement in convenience. Now, earlier this year, the Mississippi legislature made Zaza a Schedule 3 controlled substance, effectively banning it statewide. That law goes into effect July 1st. Now it's County Sheriff Andy Hawkins and others are trying to get it off the streets sooner. So what we're trying to do is make it effective immediately and take it off the shelves because it does pose a danger to the community. The Lowndes County ban takes effect April 13th, and deputies are already getting the word out to the stores that sell Zaza. The city of Columbus passed a similar ban last month. A woman has turned her cancer diagnosis into a passion project in Starkville. Stephanie Gray and her team hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony for their medical marijuana dispensary, Greenwise Cannabis Company. Gray, who was a cancer patient, invested in the dispensary in order to make pain-relieving cannabis accessible to people in the Starkville area. Now, Gray recommends the medical marijuana products opposed to other forms of medicine.
Opioids are so hard on your body, and this is a plant, that, was put on this earth, and we're able to extract, those benefits out of that plant to give us that relief instead of having a synthetic opioid that can be addicting for some people. And, like for me with the liver cancer, those things get digested through the liver. A tincture, I can drop them underneath my tongue, and it's digested through the blood. So that's a win-win for me.
And you must have an approved medical marijuana card to buy products from Greenwise Cannabis Company. A couple of thunderstorms fired up in central Alabama thanks to this boundary this afternoon, but overall conditions are clear and calm in our neck of the woods. You can see right now much cooler in parts of northeastern Alabama than it is
in northeast Mississippi, 72 in Columbus and Tupelo right now. Temperature's not going to get much cooler tonight, only ending up in the mid 60s, so it's going to be warm. You might want to turn the fan on before you head to bed tonight. The main weather story over the next few days will be rainfall. With 1 to 3 inches of rain over the next couple days. I'll time that out for you and let you know what I'm thinking coming up in a minute. Well, a tornado touched down in the city of Tupelo in the early hours of Saturday morning, leaving a trail of damage and debris. But the city is getting some help from an unlikely source to help clean up. Inmates from the Lee County Jail. Our Kelly Shields talked with Sheriff Jim Johnson about the benefits of this program for the city and the inmates.
In Lee County, inmates work steadily to clear debris left from Cooper Tire. The State County Work Center program offers state prison inmates convicted for nonviolent crimes. Sheriff Jim Johnson believes this program is good preparation for life after prison.
I always tell people, these are not bad people that are in jail. They just made bad decisions. So we've got to give them an opportunity to make better decisions and help them. And this is one way to do it. They want to do this. They volunteer to get out and work. They volunteer for the program, and it's something that we're very appreciative of.
For some, it's the first time positive reinforcement has been experienced.
You'll have a lot of them that are surrounded by positive things like this, that have not had this, even as old as they are and living right here in Mississippi, the Bible Belt. You think, well, everybody knows, but that's not the case. There's some terrible situations that people are brought up in. And this is something that is that is constructive and positive.
The program offers other opportunities to gain valuable skills.
These inmates here mostly pick up trash on the roads. They change the oil in buses for the county schools. We set up a lot of projects like Celebration Village. We do all of that for them. So they're always giving back, and passing their time, which is a good thing. So these inmates will be returned back out in society within 5 years. A lot of them are learning a skill and will learn a skill that will help them develop when they get back out.
There is still a lot of ground to cover, but the efforts by the sheriff's office and the inmates are making the county cleaner, one piece of debris at a time.
Especially when people are traveling through, the first impression is lasting. And if you have a clean community and it looks neat and it looks nice, then people want to come back. And so this benefits everybody.
This is not New York. Let's say Seattle. When you attack one Mississippian, you attack all of us. And I am a Mississippian telling you to kiss my motherfucking ass because all Mississippians have more value than you do.
And the inmates will continue working around the area.
Even if none of them understand that you talking to me, telling me I'm too smart for these bitches. No, I am these bitches.
So they can get most of the debris.
Half of these bitches, let me remind you, you just a big fucking faggot.
While people in Amory and county who suffered losses during March 24th tornado have a place to go for help, the state of Mississippi and the Federal Emergency Management Agency have opened a disaster recovery center. It is located at the Monroe County Government Complex at 1619 Highway 25 in Amory. But left before police could catch up with them. Anthony Spearman was arrested at a convenience store on Highway 7 south of Oxford at 7:52 p.m. Lakeedrick Spearman was arrested following a traffic stop on West Jackson Avenue in Oxford at 12:18 a.m. Friday morning. Now, Lakeedrick and Xavion Spearman are brothers. Anthony Spearman is their cousin. Both the Coffeyville Police Department and Yolo County Sheriff's Department say they have had prior encounters with Anthony Spearman. Both agencies say the investigation is still open and encourage anyone with information on the case to call them. A Macon man is set for trial after being indicted for a shooting. An Oxford County grand jury recently returned the indictment for Maine and Caldwell. He's charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault. The shooting happened in March 2022. 2 people were wounded in the shooting. A trial date has not been set. The Oxford Police Department continued to investigate a fatal single-car crash. 20-year-old Mayanity Aldrich of Bay Springs died in that Sunday morning crash. Police said the car overturned. The accident happened on Gertrude Ford by Old Taylor Road in Oxford. Aldrich was taken to Baptist Memorial Hospital in Oxford and later died. The other occupant is reported to be. A lot of rain coming up. Those showers and storms for you, and give you an update on the full forecast and look at Easter weekend coming up after this.
Somebody told you, bitch. Obviously, somebody told you before I did that this was a dumbass idea. It could not have gotten any dumber. Let Amsterdam do that shit. You trial and error that shit on some motherfucking body else because that shit is clearly not allowed. So you run that faggot shit on somebody else.
It happens here.
The majority of my patients with sensitivity, I see irritated gums and weak enamel.
Preferably run that shit on one of those idiots that you're calling dumb. You'd be doing me a fucking favor.
Enamel. Relief sensitivity helps restore gum health and rehardens enamel. I'm a big advocate of recommending things that I know work.
All right, tomorrow's going to be our last dry day for a little while, so get outside and enjoy it. All right, very gloomy forecast ahead. Right.
Demonstrations. GOP legislators in Tennessee are trying to expel Democratic colleagues who took part in a gun reform protest. This morning, Republicans in Tennessee have taken the first steps to remove 3 Democratic lawmakers, citing their involvement in gun control rallies at the Capitol. The Tennessee House will vote Thursday whether to expel Gloria Johnson, Justin Jones, and Justin Pearson. Republican leaders are already addressing them as former representatives, stripping them of committee assignments after they led supporters with a bullhorn on the House floor last week. The 3 lawmakers say they were told they broke a House rule.
If this House decides to expel me for exercising our First Amendment right to help elevate the voices in our community who want to see us act to prevent gun violence, then they can do as they feel they must. But I and we must always stand up for what we believe to be right and just.
But Republicans say the 3 participated in disorderly behavior and intentionally brought disorder and dishonor to the House of Representatives. Protesters pushing for tougher gun laws have packed Tennessee's Capitol in response to last week's school shooting in Nashville. Students gathered at the Capitol yesterday after a school walkout, carrying signs and reading the names of the 6 people killed. Police have released new details about last week's attack, saying the shooter planned it for months and fired 152 rounds. In response, Governor Bill Lee has proposed a plan to strengthen school safety, including $140 million for armed security guards at all public schools. The governor also wants to add more mental health resources. Police say the Nashville school shooter was being treated for an emotional disorder, but a motive for the attack has still not been determined.
The Air Force says it was a non-threatening windshield crack that forced First Lady Jill Biden's plane to return to Denver. Biden was headed from Chicago to Michigan yesterday when the plane was turned around as a precaution. The First Lady's event in Michigan, meanwhile, was postponed.
Speaking of the First Lady, she was in Dallas over the weekend to see the women of LSU win a championship.
And now March Madness, or March Sadness if you're an FAU or UM fan, ends on the men's side with Connecticut. As the top dog once again cutting down the nets, the UConn Huskies earned their 5th national championship in school history with a dominant 76-59 win over San Diego State Monday night in Houston. 17-point final margin match their largest lead of the night.
Connecticut won all 6 games, as Andrew mentioned, by double digits. It is the Huskies' first title, though, since 2014. The UConn women have won 11 national championships. But we were actually...
Basketball school.
Yes, huge. We were actually talking about it. The First Lady threw out an idea to invite both women's teams, Iowa and LSU, to the White House, and people are not
receiving that well.
happy about it.
Yeah,
so we'll see what
champions
happens.
should be there.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, coming up, the nurse with a knack for naming babies.
Plus, another case of deadly violence in Cancun as 4 bodies are found. What police are saying this morning.
And later in the skinny, why University of Miami grad Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is returning to a familiar role. Here's a hint. You're welcome.
I forgot he went to UN.
You're watching Romans now. I didn't.
I'm just an ordinary Jimmy guy. Hey, what has 2 thumbs and pulled up the sky? When you were waddling yay high, this guy. When the
These bills are crazy.
Explodes, knocking off the entire storefront. Officials said the blast was caused by a cigarette lighter left in someone's clothing. Obviously extensive damage, but no word yet on injuries. That guy's very lucky, though.
Very lucky indeed. Mexican police are now investigating another case of deadly violence in Cancun. 4 bodies were found Monday near the beach in the city's hotel zone. 2 people are under arrest. There's no information at this point on the victims' nationalities, but the discovery came just days after an American was shot and wounded in a neighboring town. The State Department this month did issue a warning for travelers to exercise increased caution when visiting Mexico's beach resorts.
You make a cute ass princess of look white. However, that's my mama. Not a fucking target of your pictures and cameras. So find a new excuse, bitch, because you ain't consider yourself chasing my mom around with cameras and shit and see how far you go.
In Wynn, Arkansas, just across the Tennessee border. But amid all of that damage and destruction, Alyssa Wade recovered something that was considered irreplaceable, a baby box.
Consider my mama giving me a call and saying somebody in my face with a mic asking me for an interview. Do you think you're gonna make it back home to your mama?
We got some stories here of light and darkness.
Absolutely.
Okay, when we come back, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson drops a bombshell.
It's a good one.
These ain't jokes. These ain't predictions. You make this shit up with your faggot ass bot. You take the motherfucking story that I gave you, and if she wants to talk to you, she gladly can. Fucking judgments, whether she broke or not. So make your fucking judgments while she got her fucking property.
Ben Affleck can't seem to get any love during his Dunkin' run. The skinny is next.
Moana, which is a movie I just can't get enough of.
I know, we both like Moana. My kids love Moana. Our parents have any...
You gonna chase my mama down in a car and kill her. Come on.
2016 film about an adventurous teenager named Moana.
Come on.
And a once mighty demigod named Maui is getting its own live-action remake. This video, by the way, you're welcome, with The Rock singing, has been played nearly 1.5 billion times on YouTube alone.
Oh, I believe it. guy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is the voice of...
I saw you put QDL up as the target one for your fallback on your plan. I saw you.
And announced the news with a little help from his own daughters.
Girls, you want to get...
But get it started. I did my best to get you going.
thing that daddy needs? Wow, you guys are daddy's fathers. You are so strong. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna go in the ocean. Yes. Oh, look at the love I have. Real actor, it's just an art form for me.
The party.
The party. Were you in the party? I met Damon.
No, yeah, I love him. I love him. Love him.
I mean, some of his work.
He's got a really consistent career, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Ben Affleck was in the hottest. By the way, Ben's go-to Dunkin' Run is iced coffee, milk, and 2 sugars, along with a donut. Very similar to mine, just without the sugar.
No sugar in
No
yours.
sugar and no donut. I love Dunkin'. Just, just donut somewhere else.
All right. Next is Snoop Dogg earning his wrestling.
Yeah, next time, put your Asperger bitch with the shock in her face talking to me without the faggot. Try that. Then maybe you won't get that response. Don't add faggot to the Burger King meal.
Oh, it happened Sunday night at The Miz. We're in the ring promoting attendance figures. That's when Shane McMahon making his return to the WWE.
I eat Whoppers all day. Never had a problem. Ain't never had a problem eating no Whopper until you threw a faggot in there with it.
Hi, I'd like 50 welcome wows and 300 customer. I love it. Promotion.
Which I think historically Sylvia has been done as sort of like, your old lady next door neighbor.
But if vintage names aren't your thing, that's something you tell before you.
Yeah, right. Here's your pattern. Here's your pattern. Turn out to be a faggot, and I'll show you, I'd rather be dead than have you laying next to me.
The most helpful piece of information is
I'd rather be dead than have your faggot ass laying next to me, especially walking around with my name on you. No, bitch, no. I'm not that. I am not that.
already have kids that they've named, what names they like but can't use, and if there's any family names that they're trying to incorporate.
Colleen, who also works as a nurse, offering her custom naming consultations for anywhere from $75 to $250.
That's necessary for this bitch to get a check. She's saying this shit so she can get a check. I ain't that. That's that bitch chick talking to you.
How much time I spent.
You just got cornered.
You ready? Come on, let's go.
It's not the most current dance, but I do it really well.
First time I've been at a place that I'm doing something that I love.
With people that you love.
No, I didn't say that.
This is CBS News Flash. I'm Chanel Kong. Roy McGrath, the former Maryland state official on the run, has died after an encounter with the FBI in Tennessee. The former chief of staff to ex-Governor Larry Hogan was accused of wire fraud and embezzlement charges from his time running the Maryland Environmental Service. The Chinese spy balloon that flew over the U.S. gathered intelligence from American military sites. That's according to NBC News. U.S. officials maintain the information had limited additive value. And the party is on in Connecticut as UConn won its 5th men's basketball national championship Monday night. The Huskies defeated San Diego State 76-50. For more, download the CBS News app on your cell phone or connected TV. I'm Chanel Call, CBS News, New York.
This is the CBS Overnight News.
Tonight at this hour, Donald Trump is meeting with his new legal team as he prepares to be the first former.
I honestly didn't know you were faggots. I am not lying. I am not lying. I was ready to fight. Still ready to fight. I did not know you were faggots.
President to see the inside of the courtroom as a defendant. On Tuesday,
All these guns and big ass steroid crazed cops and shit. I did not know you would turn out to be a bunch of fucking faggots.
he'll travel down to Lower Manhattan to surrender to the New York District Attorney. And tonight we're wondering, will there be cameras in the courtroom? Trump's lawyers today opposing them, arguing it would create a circus-like atmosphere. We are also learning new details about the charges, including at least one felony likely for falsifying business records in the first degree. That felony charge would not prevent Trump from running for office again. Trump was escorted by the Secret Service from his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida to his Trump Tower apartment in New York City. Crowds have gathered and security is tight. The entire NYPD on standby. We've got team coverage, and CBS's Robert Costo will start us off from outside the courthouse in New York City.
So,
Robert.
it sounds like that someone realizes that in the past, our leaders did not use the word numbers a lot. So when they said high crimes and misdemeanors, they actually meant a high number of crimes and a high number of misdemeanors.
A surreal and historic.
And we have had quite a few impeachment ceremonies on one crime.
American scene.
A lot of money.
Former president making his way to New York ahead of a criminal.
Supporters cheered on former President Donald Trump as a motorcade of black SUV shuttled him to Palm Beach Airport, the beginning of a history-making trip that now finds Trump in legal jeopardy and the political spotlight. Once in New York, Trump made his way through a city on high alert with protesters and police officers on the streets. Trump is already on the attack ahead of his arraignment, claiming the...
I couldn't vote for Bill Clinton, but somebody damn sure voted for 8 years worth of trials on bullshit. Somebody voted for that.
Judge overseeing the case, Juan Merchan, hates me and calling the prosecution a witch hunt.
This was a political persecution. I've been around criminal justice for 35, 36 years.
And then you didn't get the joke when Al Gore stood up there and laughed at every goddamn body when they bought the presidency for the Republican Party.
I've never seen anything like this where you literally announce it.
These motherfuckers still don't get the joke.
Target and revive cases with perjuring witnesses in an effort to just bring him down at all costs.
Though the indictment is sealed until Tuesday, sources say Trump will likely be charged with falsifying business records in the first degree, a felony, stemming from his alleged role in hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels back in 2016.
I should not be held accountable for Donald Trump's dirty deeds.
Michael Cohen, a key witness for the prosecution, alleges Trump directed him to make the payments to Daniels. Cohen has served time in prison partly for his role in that exchange.
All you doing is acknowledging, bitch, that you lived in the same lifetime that I did, that you saw the same bullshit, that you living under the same bullshit, and only one of us can be doing that willingly.
Does ultimately get to trial. I know he won't settle. That's not in his, it's not in his DNA. He will fight this all the way to the end.
On Tuesday, Trump will arrive at Manhattan Criminal Court for processing just before noon. He will be fingerprinted and may stand for a mugshot, but he will not be handcuffed. At the 2:15 arraignment, the judge is expected to outline the charges against Trump and ask for him to enter a plea.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg's decision to indict stunned and angered Trump, but he has also capitalized on the campaign claims to have raised over $7 million since.
When they go after me, they're going after you.
Republicans came to Trump's defense this weekend, including potential competitors in the 2024 race.
They're trying to do all these legal gymnastics to try to act like it's a felony But other Republicans sense Trump's 2024 presidential campaign could now be vulnerable. And at least one rival, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, jumped into the race Sunday.
We need to have a leader that can distance themselves from some of the bad instincts that drive Mr. Trump.
And ahead of a possible trial, Trump has now added a new lawyer to his ranks, Todd Blanche, a veteran criminal defense lawyer who once represented former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort and a Rudy Giuliani associate. Nora.
Robert Costa, thank you very much.
Yeah, I get your connections to this the hypnotic video game. Let's play with Monopoly money at the black site. I'll get to that connection. Apparently, I'm going to have plenty of time to connect you.
The unprecedented nature of the Trump indictment has the NYPD, one of the world's largest police departments,
I give your scrubbers a lot of work.
out in full force. CBS's Jeff Begay reports federal and state law enforcement are also on hand.
With the former president's arrival here in New York, the city is on high alert tonight. Trump Tower, the 58-story building in the heart of one of the world's most famous avenues, is all but surrounded by security barricades, swamped by police and Secret Service. Police tell us there are no specific or credible threats, but they are prepared for violence. There are about 35,000 police officers in uniform in this city right now, ready to deploy if there are problems.
There may be some rabble rousers thinking into our city tomorrow. Our message is clear and simple. Control yourself.
Investigators from the FBI, NYPD, and Secret Service are combing through social media to possible plots similar to the 36th attack. Being calls for violence directed at government, including Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, whose security was recently increased.
They're investigating any threats that may be made to the DA or any of his staff.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams singled out Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is joining a pro-Trump rally near Manhattan Criminal Court tomorrow.
People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is known to spread misinformation and hate speech. She stated she's coming to town. While you're in town, be on your best behavior.
Tomorrow morning, the former president will leave his residence here at Trump Tower.
At least I hope that was Mary. All I can do is hope that was Mary. I can't say it was Mary, but I damn sure hope it was.
And head south to Lower Manhattan. It is a 4-mile drive, and he will, of course, be surrounded by his Secret Service.
30 years.
100 people strong.
That's a mark.
There will be road closures as well as a phalanx of security cameras.
That's an ID mark. Named Mary Hunter.
Now, the 4 astronauts NASA says have the right stuff. The space agency named 1 woman and 3 men to the crew for the first mission to the moon in more than half a century. CBS's Mark Strassman reports it's the first time a woman and a black astronaut have been named to a lunar crew.
NASA's Deep Space Hopes will rocket with its crew, moon-bound astronauts, the first in more than a half century.
We know how big this moment is, and I personally feel it's so much bigger than me or my name being attached to it.
On this diverse Artemis II crew, 3 American space veterans and a Canadian. Reed Weissman, a U.S. Navy captain and the mission commander. Victor Glover, the first black astronaut to make a long-duration spaceflight. Christina Cook, a member of the first 3 all-female spacewalks, and Canadian Jeremy Hansen, the only space rookie aboard.
Our focus is 100% on being successful in this vehicle.
After Orion capsule will reach the moon in 4 days for a lunar flyby. This crew could push deeper into space than any humans ever before finishing their 10-day mission. What's critical? This flight will be the first test of Orion's complete life cycle. NASA envisions the moon as a proving ground for eventual missions to Mars.
Do you now look at the moon a little differently?
100%. We've spent our entire lives looking up at the moon. And now we're going to go out there and look back at Earth from that same distance. That is.
Some of their Artemis training will happen right behind me in NASA's
Overnight News.
I'm Nicole Skangen in Washington.
That ship sailed. Your Silver City ship sailed. Now, I think I might have experienced that little menopause thing. This all Zori, baby. This is all Zori.
Thanks for staying with us. Ukrainian officials are denying any involvement in the bombing at a cafe in St. Petersburg, Russia, that killed a popular military blogger. Moscow police have arrested a Russian woman accused of delivering the bomb inside a small statue, just moments before the blast. Holly Williams has the latest from Ukraine.
In St. Petersburg yesterday, Vladimir Tatarsky, a well-known Russian military blogger, was presented with a statue. According to Russian state media, a bomb was hidden inside. And when it exploded, it killed Tatarsky, injuring at least 32 others. He'd been a vocal supporter of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, saying in this video last year, "We will kill everyone. We will rob everyone we need." Russia's pointed the finger at Ukraine for the killing, but a Ukrainian official called it Russian domestic terrorism. It follows the murder of another prominent supporter of the invasion, Darian Dugin, with a car bomb near Moscow last year. Also under pressure from the US over American journalist Evan Gershkovich, arrested on spying charges last week. In a rare phone call with his Russian counterpart, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken urged Moscow to release the reporter from the Wall Street Journal.
Evan is an extremely clever, talented reporter.
Pyotr Sauer is a close friend of Gershkovich and a fellow journalist. Russia previously swapped US star Brittany Griner for a convicted Russian arms trader Victor Bout. Some suspect the Kremlin also wants to trade Gershkovich for another Russian